Welcome to the It's Cyber Up North podcast with me, Danielle Phillips. And today I'm joined by Thea Scott from CyberNorth as well. Hi, Thea.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Innovation and the innovation zone that we're looking to create. We're going to talk about the innovation hubs that we've started and centres. So should we dive right in?
Yeah, let's go.
I think it's also worth noting before we do that I've got my CyberNorth mug.
You need to always be on brand.
If anyone is feeling a bit FOMO, then drop me a line. We'll sort you out. Okay, so innovation, why is it important?
It's important because we need to keep creating new things, new ideas. We need to be getting more efficient. The processes that we're doing need to get better. I think, if we stop innovating, then we stagnate. We know that especially in cybersecurity, in the technology field, things change very quickly all the time. And I'd also say that certainly from a security perspective, if people are doing rather more nefarious activities, that they're always going to be one step ahead, actually. And we're sort of, as an industry, chasing, really. We always talk about how it's not a question of if, it's a question really of when something is going to happen. And all of that is part of innovation. How can we get better at spotting these things? How can we make sure that our communities, that our businesses, that our people are safe and secure?
So CyberNorth exists for three reasons: to ensure that we've got the right skills for the sector, to ensure we've got a strong ecosystem, and to create and build on innovation in the region. So that for that exact point, isn't it? So that we don't stand still, because we can't afford to stand still. We've always got to be thinking about the future and thinking about creating new jobs and new technologies,
absolutely,
new ways of working. So what are we doing around innovation from a CyberNorth perspective?
Well, we're doing quite a lot, I think, from the region's point of view as well. I think, I think a lot of people, when they think about cybersecurity, they think of Cheltenham, probably more like the southwest. They've got obviously like a big satellite there with GCHQ being based there. Obviously London is, our nation's capital. So, a lot of people are going to be flocking to there. The northwest, Manchester, have really jumped on this as well, and have started doing a lot of great things there to try and attract a talent and, create things that are going to be for the better of both their region and the nation. Scotland definitely getting in on the act as well. Ireland, Wales, we're looking at all of this. And I think from a northeast point of view, we've always been innovators up here, actually, from the very beginning. We know that. We're very proud history here. And I think as we move into a more modern era, this is something that we also want to tap into. Phil, when he became sort of cluster lead, I suppose, the founder of CyberNorth, was really passionate about this. He's very passionate about the Northeast, which we all are as well. And he had an idea, really, that that he wanted to see how we could create or encourage innovation up here, inspired by things going on in London and the Southwest and those areas as well. And last year, we put on what we called the Innovation Centre, and and it was to create an ecosystem, really, for businesses. They were pre-startup, early, very, very early stage. Some were just an idea. They hadn't even been incorporated. It was just something that someone had thought, could this be a business? Is this something that I could do? And I think a lot of the time, when we look at sort of accelerator programs or incubator programs, they look at more established businesses, or at least, you might have a client or you've got a business plan maybe.
Yeah.
But there isn't a lot of support for businesses when you're first starting that side of it. You can do a few things, people will give you advice, but you don't necessarily have access to people and things and programs that might be able to help you develop that further. And actually, in some ways, work out whether that business is viable or not in a sort of safe place. And that's what we tried to create with the Innovation Centre. We had 10 businesses that came through, and they learned about a lot of different aspects of business. So from finance and investment, they also looked at customers and sales, marketing, all the things that you really need to sort of start up a business. And that ran over 6 months. It was in 2 areas of the Northeast. We had one in Newcastle and one in Durham. We had a co-working space as well for them to be able to have somewhere that they could actually go. We introduced people from the industry there as well, so they had access to those, and sort of created a peer network really as well, a sort of support, so you can say, oh, I've got this idea, or I'm having this challenge, do you have that same thing? Just nice to have people there who are going through the same thing maybe as you.
I think it's quite lonely, isn't it, when you're starting out?
Absolutely.
Like that, particularly if you're at the very beginning of the journey and you've got no peer to share that with, or no business partner, or it can be quite a lonely journey. So actually bringing that cohort together who want to start a business but also want to start a cyber business, they're really then getting their own sort of network built from that program as well. So it's fantastic. So how did that do? Did that result in many businesses being created?
Yeah, so we had a few that came through. So we've had one in particular. They ran investment that was 350 grand that they came through with some partners at North Star, and invested in them, and that has helped them move on, which is fantastic. You know, to be able to see them. They really embraced the Innovation Centre. They really showed up and put the effort in, and they were going down to London as well to look at investors and to really grow their network. So they've established themselves and are now going on, and I think they maybe have 5 or 6 people now as well, employed, so and are still growing. We have another business as well that are doing fantastically well. Their CEO, she's flying all over the world, doing trade missions, Australia, America. She's working with huge businesses like Toshiba and these big tech businesses on developing new ways of standardization really in her area of cybersecurity. So it's been fantastic to see. We also had a guy who he used his idea to develop further through his thesis at university as well. So he's now pursuing that more on a research level, but also hopefully going to be spinning that out eventually as well. So of those 10 businesses, actually, they're the 3 sort of standout side of things. But we had really good feedback anyway, because some of the people who came on that course as well have now gone on to have jobs in cybersecurity as well, or teaching about it. And I think that is just as important, really. You know, they might not have created a business, but that Innovation Centre has been able to spark inspiration or encouragement to continue on in the sector, and actually they're working now within it to help this sector grow and thrive in the region.
That's so key. It's opening up a network as well as for people so that they can explore other opportunities, because self-employment is not for everyone. Starting a business is not for everyone. It's hard work, and I think it's great to have these opportunities to sort of trial it and see if it's right for you before you make the jump. So that was 2024. So we ran that over 6 months, and then we got the opportunity to apply for some more grant funding through the Cyber Local program, didn't we? To do something similar. So we've done the same sort of thing, but with a little twist. So talk us through Innovation Centre Mark 2. What does that look like?
Version 2, So what we've really done is we've sort of finessed it. is really the key part of it. So, we talk about innovation, and innovation isn't just constantly new ideas and saying, we've got this idea and then this one and then this one. But actually, it can also be about how we get more efficient, how we look at these things, what are the learnings that we've got that we can then put back into industry or the program initiative, whatever you're doing. And that's sort of, we're also on an innovation journey really as well. And so version 2 is a more slick version, I would say, of the lessons really that we learned and the feedback that we got from the cohort and the first side of things. So we have 14 businesses now, so that has grown, which is great. A similar setup in that it still has the same support from people. We are still looking at those various stages, those various disciplines in business to help teach our cohort of businesses that have come in. It is still early stage, pre-startup businesses as well. So it's still aimed at those. But we've just condensed it down a little bit more. We've introduced a mentoring aspect to it as well. We also bring in people from industry to what we call them fireside chats. I suppose it's sort of not dissimilar to this. But it's a really good way of having access to people in industry who are going through that journey. Maybe they are further on, but there are lessons there. So, for instance, last week, the course was focused on investment and funding, and how to get it, what it is, because there's loads of different versions of it, and sometimes people don't know what that is. And so we had 2 businesses that came to talk about their experiences and what that meant, and it gives access to the cohort to be able to ask direct questions to those people, in a safe place where they might feel stupid asking, for instance, but there aren't any stupid questions. And also you kind of, you don't want to practice in front of an investor if you're pitching, at that time. So this gives them that side of it first, so they can actually say, what mistakes did you make? What was your journey? What did that look like? What did you do? Why? So that they can start thinking a bit more about it for them.
It's great from that inspirational perspective as well, because I firmly believe you can't be what you can't see. And if you can see someone who looks a bit like you, sounds a bit like you, who's, flying with their cybersecurity business, then that might inspire you to just take that leap and to go for it as well yourself.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I love that we're doing that this year. We're also, so you mentioned coaching and mentoring, I think we're doing as well. We're doing another piece around Meet the Buyer. So that's coming in towards the end of the program, which probably this week or next, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what does that look like?
It's more networks, more contact with people who are actually going to be interested in their services or their products that they are offering. It is a way of allowing our cohort to really see what that would look like in practice. I think sometimes, we can have these ideas or, we can see a gap in the market, but you also need to sometimes sense check those. But also you want to be able to see that you are doing the right things, that you're going along the right lines, and that actually this is something that is needed. And the very people that you're going to be selling to are right there in the room and you can directly talk to them. And that's the idea behind that whole Meet the Buyer. They can have proper conversations with the right people, because sometimes I think, we don't also know who to speak to. Yeah. And I think, cold calling or going to an event maybe where you don't know people, and a lot of these businesses as well, you create a service or a product because that's something that you're good at, that you're interested in, but you might not have marketing or sales skills, that you have to learn those, and that's quite difficult. So if we can bring the buyers to them and put them in a room together and to be able to get them to talk a little bit more, then they can see, 1, these people aren't scary, 2, they can speak to the right people, and 3, they can see again, is their business viable? Is that service that they're offering, is that something that is actually good for the market.
Yeah, are people going to pay for what they produce?
People are going to pay. Yeah.
It's an important question, isn't it, when you're innovating and creating something new? And I'm really pleased that we're able to give that Innovation Centre group an opportunity to ask that question. Okay, so we will have had about 20 or so people come through our Innovation Centres, a few more over the past year. Then what? Now, what's next for us? What are we going to do after that?
So what we're looking at now is probably being a bit more ambitious.
I like this. Tell me more.
This is up your street. The bigger vision. And where we've been looking at these smaller businesses, sort of, like I said, pre-startup, very, very early stage. And I think it's very important that they are supported. But we also have many other businesses across that whole business life cycle. And what happens with those is that they also need support throughout their whole journey. Depending on whatever they want to do, whether they try to exit or whether they want to float or whether they just want to get bigger, whatever that is on their journey, we need to put all of those different stages together. And I think at CyberNorth, what we would like to do is be part of that whole journey with them to help our cybersecurity businesses in the region go through that whole journey with them.
So we're talking like scaling up and
exactly
moving from medium to large business and all that sort of thing.
All of that things. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really important as well for the region for us to remain competitive, both in terms of our sister regions, I think, but also as a nation. We can actually contribute properly to the UK economy, to the regional economy. We can contribute to the critical national infrastructure because security is such a huge part of that as well, so significant. And I think there's a huge opportunity here that we can do that we've sort of started with these innovation centres. And what we would like to do is put that onto a bigger grand scale. We are calling that the Northeast Cyber Innovation Zone. And what we are doing is the sort of next stage of this. So growing the innovation centre into more of a hub, I think. And where the focus obviously will be cybersecurity businesses, but it will also include a much bigger outlook of what that ecosystem looks like, because we have other industries in the Northeast that rely on cybersecurity services and need the innovation. So that's things like maritime. That's things like space. That's things like, public sector, obviously, things like smart cities. We know that Sunderland are really pushing that side of things, and it's quite exciting, the work that they're doing down there. There are defence is a big part of that as well. And all of these things need data and information. And that's why the security side of things is so important, because the more we do to either gather information and collect that data so that we can make our lives much easier and better, things like health tech. There's so many things that we do. Even on your smartwatch and things like that, we're looking at how many steps we've done and those kind of things. It's all information. It's all making our lives easier and better. But how else are we? How are we keeping that secure? How are we making sure that people are safe? And that's why the Innovation Centre with cybersecurity can really feed into those industries as well. And as they start growing up, and becoming bigger, we know that we're looking at these regional AI growth zones as well. It's a huge part of that of AI is all about security. Where that information is coming from, where that information is used. And our businesses, we've got a huge amount of talent here and a lot of businesses doing a lot of exciting things that can do that. And how do we bring all of those people together? And that's really what we're looking at with this innovation zone. So
I love this idea that we're going to bring all of these emerging and new and in some instances established technologies as well into one physical space, and really look to how we can innovate together. Because like you say, you can create a great piece of health tech or fintech, and which our region's really great at as
absolutely,
well. But if you're not thinking about the security piece all the way through, then perhaps what you go to market with isn't going to be viable. So it's about creating a much stronger Northeast innovation proposition, really, isn't it? And really making sure that what comes out of our region is market ready.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's very exciting. Where are we at in that journey? Is it just a hope and a dream at this stage, or a bit further along?
It's more than a hope and a dream.
Okay.
We are definitely sort of pushing forward with it. We are in sort of proposal stage of it, but we have a lot of support from those different other clusters. There's industry people that we've been speaking about, there's fintech, AI, those kind of things. We've got a lot of support from actual businesses as well, because the other side of it as well is that it attracts talent and investment and trade up here as well. And I think sometimes we think about maybe cybersecurity being sort of one little bit and maybe just a sort of service after, but actually, you know, you talking about there about sort of secure by design, secure by default, and those are the kind of things where we talk about being like shift left in the industry, where we do that at the beginning, and so that we're not trying to scrabble after once we've, you know, had a breach. We've kind of already trying to do prevention rather than cure. And I think having those perspectives in, that's why we talk about having a physical centre, because it creates a hub where people can actually come to and ask for advice and work together, having lots of different perspectives from lots of different people as well, and provide that side of things. So we have had a lot of support from people, you know, keeping the talent, because we've got 5 excellent universities, 6 Newcastle College tell me that they are a university. They still call themselves college though, so I don't know.
University Centre and Newcastle College. There you go.
Okay, yeah. We've got 5.5 great universities in the region. And, you know, we have a huge amount of talent. I think we looked at these stats the other day, and it's something like there's 20,000 STEM students across the region. You know, that's an awful lot of talented people that possibly look at the sort of Northeast, have a fantastic time up here, have a great education, and then go, where are the opportunities? Oh, well, actually, we probably have to go to Manchester or London, you know, something like that. Whereas actually, if we can keep them here. So the universities are very keen, actually, as well.
You think having this physical embodiment of all of these innovative companies, a kind of Silicon Valley under one roof for the Northeast, is a way to demonstrate that the Northeast has got these skills, this talent, this opportunity, and really give us something to get people excited about wanting to stay in, to have a career here.
Absolutely. I mean, it comes down to, you know, we talked about GCHQ being a sort of satellite in the southwest in Cheltenham. You know, London already has, the people have like a pull that's kind of already there. You know, maybe we talk about, you know, the football team, because we know that obviously they're champions.
Congratulations, all Newcastle United supporters listening to the podcast.
But, you know, in terms of like, you know, we know that we've got such a good community up here, tech community up here. It's so supportive in the Northeast. People love to come and live here and stay here. You know, when I was in London, all my friends basically came to Northeast universities, but none of them stayed, but they had the best time, you know. So it's kind of like, how do we keep people there? And this kind of innovation zone really creates that sort of momentum and the excitement around the region.
And then, of course, bigger businesses want to be part of that as well, because they want that talent, they want that energy, but also they want those innovations coming into their businesses too. So it attracts different sizes of businesses. I love the idea that we're trying to think about the life cycle as well. So this is not just about startups, but this is about innovating at whatever stage you're at in your business and creating that opportunity for what we call entrepreneurship as well. So this is great. So we're proposing this to Northeast Combined Authority at the moment?
So that's where we're at the moment. So that was your original question. I went off on a tangent, got excited, sorry. So we are at the moment, and we're putting together a proposal to get a sort of initial pilot, I think, off the ground. So we're looking for funding from the Northeast Combined Authority to help us put that together. And what we would like to do is put together a consortium, really, of businesses that would be supporting this. So that ecosystem side of it, what does that look like? We know that in Manchester, they have Manchester Dish, which is the digital security hub. And we went down and had a tour around there and worked with them and looked at what they're doing. And we can't copy what they've done. We're a different region, and that's totally fine. We wouldn't want to emulate it in exactly the same way. It needs to be right for the region and how we work. But we have a starting point from there, and we would like to create something similar for us. So that consortium, we know, needs to have the universities involved. We know needs to have the local authorities involved. We know need to have industry also involved. But also, what does that incubator, that accelerator program look like, and who can we have to help us put those together? So that's really what our proposal is all about, is evidencing how this can really impact the region, who the people we need are, what that looks like, and then to actually put some businesses through it as well. So we will have a whole load of different businesses. So kind of, I suppose, the Innovation Centre Mark III on a bigger scale. Okay. That's what we're looking to do. So the proposal is, being put together as we speak, evidencing why we need this and what it's for. It's going to be sent into North East Combined Authority in the immediate future, really, for them to look at and hopefully fund us.
And then get the version 3 off the ground later on this year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, that sounds really exciting. I can't wait to see where it goes next. I think that's all we've got time for today, Thea. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us on the couch.
Thanks very much,
and great conversation. Thank you for listening to It's Cyber Up North today with myself, Danielle Phillips, and Thea Scott from CyberNorth. You can find this podcast at any place that you normally get your podcasts and on our website, cybernorth.biz. Thank you.